I am very excited this morning to introduce Kori to you. She has a very exciting topic. Kori, like the rest of us, is at home. She is nestled in. She is with her two little boys, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and she is still sane.
Yes, for now.
For now, she says, yes. So it's amazing. She says she also has no gray hair on this, but she is living on right now. She has got some exciting information for us. She's been listed as one of the 7 women who run tech startups in San Antonio, Texas. She's the person to watch. She started her first company at the age of 12, and she's had an entrepreneur's heart ever since. In 1998, she built her first HTML website. She was instantly hooked on web design. So she has a lot of very personal experience in this, a lot of value that she can share with you, that she's going to talk to you about improving your business model. And this is for both freelancers and small business. So we're all going to get something really great out of this. I'm looking forward to hearing it. And I know you are too. So I'm not taking any more of your time. Here's Kori.
Thank you, Sumner, and welcome everybody from literally around the world. I'm so excited that you are a part of our WordPress community. Today, I just want to walk you through some ideas that I've kind of gathered up along my journey. I'll share a little bit about my story with you and kind of how I've been able to accomplish the incredible things that my team and I have been able to do. And I want to give you some insights, specifically 7 things that you can be doing to improve all of your business model, your strategy, and your growth plan inside of your small agency or your freelancer path. That's what we're going to do today. So let's go ahead and get started. 7 steps to sustainability. So we're going to be improving your business model for freelancers and small agencies. The first thing I want to ask you to do is take a screenshot of this, or if you're taking notes today, please write down that link, askkori.com. And of course, that's our WordCamp right there, that extension. If you go to that landing page, you're going to find some resources that I'm talking about today. If you head over there, you'll see a couple of different links, a few PDF files, different things that I just want to extend to you for your use inside of your business strategy. So the first thing, our first step is to understand and know your purpose and your passion. I absolutely love the WordPress community for so many different reasons. I could spend this entire workshop talking about why I love WordPress and our community. But I want you to understand what your passion is, what your purpose is. And when you know that, it's going to help guide absolutely everything you do. And I'm not talking about, I just want to make money. Of course, we all want to make money, especially in this COVID economy, right? We want to make money. But I'm talking about what gets you passionate. If anything, in this environment that we're in right now, you are probably looking at life a little differently, going, you know what? Does this really make me happy anymore? What do I want to be doing full time? How can I pivot right now and take this opportunity to just be certain that I'm doing what makes me happy and what brings my life health and wellness, right? When you know those things, you can drive your company. So we started Webtegrity. And we wanted to bring integrity into the web development industry. We'd heard a lot of rotten stories about companies taking advantage of people, running off with their domain names, leaving midway through the project, and just kind of being rotten. So we decided, let's bring integrity to the web development industry. So our brand is Webtegrity. And when I say our, it's because my mom and dad and I started the company. They're on the right side of this screen. They were in their 70s when they started this with me. Late 60s, early 70s, we started this company, and my mom was our accountant and my dad was our tech support. And he's the one who originally taught me how to code. So when I was trying to be a rock star, I needed a website for my band. And I talked to him about it, and he goes, well, I'll let you use my server space. I'll show you a little bit about how to do HTML, and you're off and running. A few years later, fast forward, I realized that I sucked at being a rock star, and I was actually better at selling websites. That's actually how we made it venue to venue. I would go around and ask the venue, hey, we didn't sell any records tonight. Can I improve your website, or can I build your website? And I'd pocket $500 or so. And the next thing I realized, you know what? That's actually the viable business. I get excited, and there's still creativity opportunities inside of building websites. I want to go do that. So in 2012, we launched Webtegrity in San Antonio, Texas. Our claim to fame was above a Starbucks. We were rocking and rolling. This was amazing for us. We wanted to get a brick and mortar mainly because I had been already as a freelancer gigging from my couch. I was meeting people at Starbucks. I was going to their offices. And I really had this vision of trying to get some sort of an office space to allow clients to come visit me and establish us more as a viable brand, with an office space that they could walk into, a conference room they could walk into. So we started small, but eventually we kept growing. And that's where I want you to just stay focused and understand, why are you in business? What gets you passionate about that business? Why do you want to continue to wake up every morning and drive that brand, drive that business? And how can you differentiate yourself and set yourself apart in the industry, in your community? For us, it really was WordPress itself. There wasn't another agency at that time in San Antonio who had basically taken that WordPress flag and planted it in the ground and said out loud, we are the go-to shop for WordPress. And we did that. The second thing is understand your exit strategy. So when we started our company, and many of you might say, I've never even heard of an exit strategy. It's actually just as important, if not more important, than your mission statement or your business plan is your exit strategy. So what happens at the end of the day when it's time to turn your lights off? What does that look like for your company? Is this going to be a legacy product that you pass down to somebody in your family to take off and run with? Is this something that you want to contain, you want to wrap up and sell? That would be amazing, right? And maybe have some sort of a stock ownership inside of it with some sort of reoccurring revenue model that sustains you into your retirement. Is this something where you feel like, well, this is just a season for me, so when I want to exit, I simply want to turn the open sign to close and go on to something else? I need you to have a very clear understanding of what that finish line looks like for you, so that every decision you can make can push toward that moment, right? So for us, it was growing our brand. We moved from being above that Starbucks into our own building, and we grew our team. We had 17 team members at the moment that we decided that we were going to sell our company. And in 2017, we were acquired for over $1 million, and we had our exit game plan. We knew very early on, I knew I wanted to build this company out, run very quickly, very aggressively to the finish line of getting my parents' retirement. That was my plan. So in a 5-year sprint, that's what we were able to do. If you have that exit strategy in front of you, you can make those plans actually come to life. So these are our first two things I hope you're taking notes on. Know your purpose. I really hope you can identify what that is, even in one simple sentence. What is your purpose? Our purpose was to help small and medium-sized businesses have an incredible and affordable presence online. That was it. That's what we tried to do, all in the world of WordPress. And then we wanted to get in a 5-year sprint to retirement. How did we do that? We just kept pushing and growing our business strategy. And these next few things are exactly how we accomplished it. So key improvements. This is where we're going to go. I want you to focus on these next 3 things. We want to improve our service. We want to improve our pricing and our profit. Everybody likes that last word there, the profit. We want to improve our process. So how do we do those things? Let's look at the first one, improving our services. So I'm going to encourage you to niche yourself. For us, it really was that WordPress flag that we stuck in the ground and said, this is the model, this is the CMS that we are going to go to market as and with, right? We ended up becoming the meetup group organizers and speakers. And so we were the teachers of WordPress in our community. In 2015, we brought the first ever WordCamp to San Antonio as the teachers of WordPress. We held all sorts of events throughout the town, just teaching small business associations and holding our own marketing events to allow people to come sit down with us and let us teach them not only how to use WordPress, but about SEO, social media marketing, and all things digital marketing. We really wanted to be that go-to spot, and that's how we niched ourselves. Once you've created that, you can add services. You don't need to limit what you do in your model, but you need to perfect one, right? Become an expert in one field, and then you'll start to understand what you can add inside of that business model. You can add other services that complement that. So for us, it was adding in support plans and reoccurring revenue. And we'll get to that in a little bit. I'll talk a little bit deeper into reoccurring revenue. I only have a short amount of time with you guys today, and I've got a lot of cool points to share with you. So I'm going to pedal pretty quickly. The cool thing about this is you can take notes right now. And if there's something that you said, I can't remember. For a Southern gal, she sure does talk fast. That's okay. This video is going to be forever living out here online, and you'll be able to go back and watch it at another time. So let's keep moving along. Let's talk about the moment that I realized that I needed reoccurring revenue in our business model. Very early on in 2014, I attended a WordCamp in Austin, Texas, where Jason Cohen, who is the CEO of WP Engine, was at the stage, at the top of the stage as the keynote, sharing with us about business strategy inside the world of WordPress. This is his personal blog that you can go to and check him out if you're interested in knowing more about Jason Cohen. One of the things he said, though, from that stage completely pivoted my company. And it had allowed the projection of my company to go from flatline to an absolute increase almost overnight. This is the aha moment. If you get nothing else from this talk, I hope that you truly start to wrap your head around what I'm about to share with you now. Because this allowed us in that 5-year sprint to get to the point that we could sell our company for 7 figures. This is where you go. Jason stood up there and he said to all of us, how many of you right now have a reoccurring revenue model in your business strategy today? And none of us really got it. You can tell the audience was just kind of curious about it, right? He said, okay, how many of you are making $5,000 a month consistently with WordPress? And a good majority of the crowd, there was probably 300 or 400 of us there, raised our hands, right? And then he said, okay, how many of you $10,000? And fewer hands were up. $20,000, even fewer hands were up. $30,000 a month. And there were about 5 of us standing there with our hands still raised. And he looked at us and he said, I'm going to basically tell you right now that every single one of you, no matter how much money you're making currently with WordPress, if you do not create a recurring revenue business model, revenue structure in your model today, in 3 years, your lights will be out. You'll be out of business because our industry, it's not because of the way we run our businesses. It's not even necessarily because of the way we structure our payment processes. It's actually because of the way our industry ebbs and flows, you guys. We're seeing it now, even more so, right? In COVID, we're seeing this ebb. So we've got to look at this and go, how can we create a sustainable model that allows us to keep our lights on? And I'll walk you through a little bit deeper how to do that. These are the business, basically the plans, the support plans that I came back and implemented in our business model. From that camp, I left with my ears just ringing and my mind just running. And I sat back down at the table as soon as we grouped back from this camp. And I started writing out, okay, this is how we're going to structure our support plans. And we're going to require these support plans. If I'm building for you and I'm building your website, you have to come on to one of these plans minimally for 12 months. This was a requirement. And you can imagine right here, if you had 30 customers, if you had 40 customers, if you had 100 customers, you've got this type of money then pouring in every single month. This took us in that moment from doing around, when I heard Jason talk, we were doing right around $8,000 recurring revenue a month. By the time I sold our company, we were closer to 80 per month because we implemented this. The other thing is go custom. Very early on, we were just taking themes and creating kind of these templated style websites. And that's because I'm not a developer. I know how to spell PHP, and that literally is the extent of where I go into development. I can hack the heck out of something. I can copy and paste. I can Google, but I was really leaning on a template. And today, thankfully, there are a lot more out there that are viable. They're well supported. They're totally responsive. They're leaning toward accessibility. We're making strides. Back then, I was pretty limited as to what I could be doing. So we decided to go custom. We started partnering with a few subcontractors. I did not have employees right away in our business model. We had subcontractors for the first 4 years. It wasn't until the last year that we actually pivoted to an employee status. But in that lean time, I still knew I needed to bring on a PHP, specifically a WordPress developer who could help us build out custom solutions for clients. That allowed us to stop selling $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 websites. And it pushed us into a brand new playground of selling $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 WordPress websites. And that little leap changed our business model as well. And then there's the opportunity to give back. And I'll talk about this in a few different times in my presentation today. The reason why I'm going to stress giving back is because it's actually part of the model of the WordPress community. It's one of our things that we do, right? You've heard of the, well, I'll talk about it in a little bit. I'll talk about a challenge that Matt put out to all of us. Matt Mullenweg put out to all of us. But for now, our give back model inside of our business was dealing with nonprofits. We had, as a small agency, and I'm sure a lot of you feel this as freelancers, especially right now in this economy, we're having people ask us to do things on a bootstrap or non-existent budget. Everybody needs something done for free. And as big as our hearts are to help everybody, the reality is of helping everybody that can actually crumble and consume your business. So what I did was I figured out, okay, let's just do this. Let's put a hat out there. And if somebody needs to have a website built, put your name in the hat. At the end of the month, we're going to do a drawing. And every month, we're going to give away one website project. That's what we're going to do. So that was our give back. So in a year, we built 12 free websites and gave them out into the community. For those that didn't win, they could either be in the hat again for the following month, or they can come to one of our weekend workshops where we teach you how to build out your own website. But that was our give back to the community. And it actually boosted our sales too, because those people who were part of those free moments with us, when they got to a job that had a budget, had fallen in love with us, and they came back to us now ready to write a check with their checkbook. So that was really exciting. So let's look at pricing and profit. This is where the nuts and bolts, you guys. This is it, pricing and profit. You have to know your numbers. So many of us entrepreneurs out there do not like dealing with the business side, right? We got into this because we either didn't like our corporate gig, or maybe there just wasn't the right opportunity for us. Maybe we didn't feel like we fit with a team, so we wanted to be a solopreneur and we wanted to run our own ship. But knowing our numbers is another thing. Most of us are creative types who don't really like looking at a spreadsheet. Our eyes go cross-eyed and we go, nah, never mind. I'll just hire a CPA. I cannot stress to you how important it is that you understand your margins on everything that you do in your business model. If you understand where you're bleeding money, what service you provide that has the best profit off of it, if you understand those things, you can start to grow and replicate the moments that are bringing you the most profit. We'll talk a little deeper about that. How many of you love Shark Tank? I'm sure that even you just reading Know Your Numbers, if you love watching Shark Tank, that probably brought that to mind, where they stress knowing our numbers. So again, I'm just going to challenge you to sit down with your CPA and figure that out. Where am I making the most marginal profit? Require residual fees. Again, improving your pricing and your profit, when you start requiring any sort of residual fees, whether they're a maintenance package, we call them support plans, right? We didn't want to call them retainers because people kind of get a torque in your jaw when you think about a retainer, because that's kind of referencing a lawyer. So we ended up calling them support plans, and everybody's felt comfortable with needing support for their website. But you could be offering SEO packages. You could be offering social media marketing packages. Whatever you can do and feel comfortable with in your business model to create this residual fees is going to just balloon your sales. Simplified contracts. Now, here's something I'm going to talk to y'all about. I wish somebody had shown me something like this 6 years ago, 8 years ago. But I am going to stop for a second and tell you, I am not a lawyer. The sample contracts that I'm about to show you are not meant for you to copy and paste into your contracts. These are just literally examples of what type of language you should be considering and potentially what type of payment plans you should be considering. So I'm just going to show you some things that kind of worked for us. This is a simple scope of work, an SOW. This is a single page. I started pretty much on a handshake contract, and then we moved to a single page contract. And these days, I'm probably running on about a 22-page contract, of which I won't be sharing today because that's proprietary. But these are some older contract styles, templates that we used, and we used with success. But these are the components that I want to highlight with you. I'm I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I want you to have a bullet point task list of the things that you are going to accomplish for this client. And I need them in a bullet point or some sort of a tabled type of structure because people don't read paragraphs. People need boom, 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 boom. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This allows the client to quickly see the scope. This allows you to understand then what you are required to go do to have the final deliverable be accepted by the client. Even if they're your friend, your grandmother, your aunt, your uncle, you still need to have something written down so you understand the scope of work. You also need to include a time frame so that client can hold you accountable and so that you yourself can be held accountable to the time you're spending in this. Whether it is a flat fee project, that's up to you on how you model. For us, we always did hourly, and it allowed us to upsell. Here's how we did that. As you can see here, we have 20 hours living right here. We had it split up, 5 for design, 10 for development, and 5 for SEO and putting in your content. Here's where this allows us to have a safety net. In design, how many of you have ever had a client that goes, oh, you know what? I kind of like what you did for that homepage, but I found these other 3 websites. Can we go look at these? Can you do this for me? What about this now? And all of a sudden, those 5 hours have turned into 15 hours. And you're going, oh my Lord, I cannot figure out how to get this client happy. All of us have gone through that, you guys. Here's how you pump the brakes. If you have a structure like this in place where you have 5 hours sitting there for design, you can get up to 2 hours in and you can present that design to the client and they go, let's try this, try that, try this, try that. In that moment, you can say to them, got it. I've got 3 hours left in this bucket. Let's go spin those. How would you like me to spin those? Would you like me to focus on this area or this area? They can give you instruction. You go back to the drawing table, come back and present V2. They look at it and go, okay, how about this? And you go, okay, at this point, we have 1 hour left. Where would you like me to spend my time? Or would you like to increase our budget so that we add on 2 or 3 more hours to this one section? Wow. That client is going to go, of course, I want to upgrade. Yes, add 3 hours on there. I'll pay you for that. No worries. You can add that into your contract and you're off and running. You're getting paid for your time. Your payment terms. This particular example is a smaller project. Anything less than 40 hours, we typically charge all up front. So this is the payment term. That's what your payments would be. Full payment for the 20-hour project. If further tasks beyond this SOW are required, the client will remain at the current rate of $85 or $125 or $145 or whatever it is you're charging per hour. And then you need to have a little bit of language in there, whatever that looks like, to say the above prices, specifications, and conditions are satisfactory and hereby accepted. The company name is authorized, so that would be your company, is authorized to do this specified work above, and then payment terms are approved, and the deposit is fully non-refundable if there is a deposit in the model. Then you absolutely want to get their signature and a date put on there so that it's executable. This is the fine print at the very bottom below that signature line. Any alteration or deviation from the above specifications involving extra costs will only be executed upon written orders for the client and will become an extra charge over the sum mentioned in this proposal. All agreements will be submitted in writing. Any content requested by Webtegrity that is delayed or not submitted by client will result in an extension of the above listed time frame and will not be the fault of Webtegrity. This delay could incur an additional fee as well. And just a reminder, the deposit is non-refundable. So how many of you have ever worked on a project where somebody has been like, I can't figure out how to write my about information, or the client goes MIA for 6 months, whatever it might look like, if they've delayed, you need to have some sort of language in your contract that allows for a few things. It allows you to charge for that delay. It allows you to not be at fault for that delay. And it allows you to basically pause for a second and go work on somebody else's content that actually does want to pay you. So consider that language inside of your contract. I'm going to move a little bit more quickly here, but this is a better cash flow terms. I really like the idea of having a better cash flow model. If I had understood something like this, I think I could have probably ramped up to at least a $2 million model in 5 years. Here's some of the things that we do wrong in our industry. A lot of us charge 50% down and 50% when we go live. Again, the problem with that is you have a client who can't figure out how to write their about us information, right? So they've now dragged what should have been a 6-week project into a 6-month project, and you're not able to get a hold of that final payment. That's extremely painful if you're partnering with some subcontractors to make this happen, because more than likely you've had to cover their time already. You've had to write the check and pay them for that work. And now you're sitting here waiting for that client to make payment. That will absolutely break your company. You cannot do it. You're going to be financially responsible for all your subcontractors at that point. You can't do it. Subcontractors won't work with you anymore if you keep telling them, I can't pay you yet. I can't pay you yet because the client hasn't paid me. So you have to figure out something better. And this is what I want to challenge you with. I want to challenge you to do 20% down and then incremental invoices for the work performed for that month. So if your project is $20,000, then you charge 20% up front, right? $4,000 down right here. Let's do it right now, today. Write that check. That gets us started. Then at the end of the month, we're going to go ahead and charge you for the work that we've done. By the time the project is finished, we will have stayed within that $20,000 budget, because you know, as the freelancer or the small agency, how to track your time and stay within that time frame. And the client is happy at the end of the day because they've not had to pay more than what was agreed upon. But this type of model allows you to have, albeit smaller, revenue sources coming in every month. It allows you to have consistent revenue sources coming in every month, right? There's a paycheck at the end of every month that you can divvy out to your team and pay them appropriately, right? This model makes so much more sense. Have clearer scopes. There's language in our contracts that also state what is not included. I don't know about you guys, but I have a horrible habit of dreaming big with our clients. We get into our conference room and man, you guys, I start talking about videography. I start talking about A/B testing. I start talking about ongoing SEO. We start talking about integrations into their CRM. And we just start really trying to think holistically as to how we can provide great services for this client. And then the end of that conversation ends with them going, yeah, but my budget looks more like this. And you go, huh. Okay, well, let's phase this out then. Let's do the first phase on that budget. And then maybe we can do second phase, third phase. But what I want you to do is have conversation in there that looks something like this. What is not covered in this SOW, but could be optional for additional fees? Things like the client already owns their own domain name. The client already has their own logo. So even if I might have mentioned in that brainstorming session that your logo looks really ugly and maybe we ought to improve that, you don't have the money for us to do that. So we're going to keep this language in here that says we're going to roll with your current brand. And advertising video work. Hey, Kori mentioned it, but it's not included. So what the client can do when they're reading through this before they sign, they can go, oh, well, I thought Kori said that was included. Huh. Okay, let's ask her how to include that. And then we increase the budget. These are the types of things that you can just bullet point out and just be certain. Another thing I would absolutely include on that list that I don't see here right now would be some reference to e-commerce. A lot of times people think, oh, but I thought you said we'd have a shop in here. And they want you to build out a full WooCommerce shop for a $2,000 budget. So be sure to have another line in here that says no payment gateway or no e-commerce solution, unless that was a part of the scope, of course. All right, let's talk about process. You guys hanging in there with me? We've got some time still. We've got about 10 minutes. Here we run. Let's go, team. Improve process. Okay. Actually have a process. That's the first thing. You guys, I am such a creative brain. I'm the one who's going to be in the room and mid-flow, I'm going to do this. Squirrel. And I'm going to be out this way every single time. I am not really a process person, not by nature. I've had to become that. Thankfully, I had a intern come along who ultimately ended up being my sidekick in the whole business. His name is Jason, another Jason, not the same Jason Cohen. Another Jason came alongside of me and he was a military guy. And talk about a regimented, structured, everything he thought was process. And he came to the table and really allowed us to have a process that helped us to grow. The reason why you need a process is for scalability and for just efficiency's sake, for that matter, right? So for us, we moved very quickly from working all locally to working in the cloud. We started working with the G Suite so that we can all collaborate inside of Docs together and spreadsheets together. And we swear by the Google Suite. We also track absolutely everything without fail that we do. Everything, whether it's an internal meeting, whether it's taking a phone call, if it's billable or non-billable, we're still tracking every minute. The tool that we use for that is called Harvest. And I'm going to encourage you to take a look at that solution for you, or at least have something that allows you to click start, type in what you're working on, and start keeping a running total. This particular tool integrates perfectly with QuickBooks. It also has its own internal invoicing system. So when you're ready at that end of the month to send that invoice for all that work that you've just done to that client, you can literally click one button and it will attach the minute by minute by minute PDF file of all the work that you've done and who's performed that work, and send it out to the client so that they don't have questions with, well, what's this invoice for? Take a look at that PDF. It'll tell you where every minute went. Another really cool tool that we love is called Basecamp. And this tool was used for communication directly with the customer. We always want to have a paper trail of conversations. The last thing you want to do is rely on them sending you all of their headshots and it's sitting in somebody else's inbox for 2 weeks and you had no idea that you already had those resources. Having a one-stop shop for the client to send everything into is what this tool is used for. If you're a larger agency, maybe Rike or Jira could be some really cool solutions for that as well, for project management. These are really great tools. Jibble is a free solution for a time tracker as well. This is basically, though, a clock in, clock out solution that we were using for all of our freelancers to keep time of when they were working for us. The other thing is, don't be bullied. Very early on, I had clients come in that said to me, well, I don't want to pay $99 a month after I pay you for my website. Well, then maybe we're just not a good fit, and that's okay. But if you educate that client as to what they're getting and that value of $99 a month, they typically came on board for it. Just understand your value and don't let anybody talk you down as to what you feel you are valued and your work is valued at. All right, you guys. So that's it. Know your purpose, have an exit strategy, improve your services, improve your profit, improve your process. Let's go into the last two things. And these things are really not necessarily processes inside of your business model, but they're just as important, if not even more. And that's investing in people and your culture. You guys, I was so blessed early on to have some amazing hearts come to work with me inside of Webtegrity. Again, we only hired subcontractors. So a lot of these people loved the flexibility of working at home if they wanted to. But I wanted to have an office that was just fun and exciting and engaging and was a culture of come into the community and come work, come be a creative with us in this space, right? And we did that every single time. We had some amazing hearts. This guy's name is John. He's actually, if you think about him and his wife, Reagan, please keep them in your prayers. They actually just moved to Italy right before all of this happened. And they are in the heart of all of this right now. So they're doing okay, though. I check in with them weekly. John and Reagan are incredible people, good hearts. But this particular photo that I'm showing you here, we actually went out and we're ziplining as a team. And I am terrified of heights, you guys. I thought this would be fun because it's kind of on my bucket list. But I want you to build a team around you that cheers you on no matter what. In this moment, I was standing up there with my knees just a knocking, holding on to about a ½ inch cable here. And the whole team had gone before me because I was standing there saying, go, go, you guys go, mainly because I was too chicken. But it was my turn at the end. It was my turn. It was just me and that instructor standing there on that platform. And we were way high up in the top of these trees. And I was terrified. And all of a sudden, I hear from a distance my team yelling at me, come on, Kori. Come on, Kori. You can do it. We've got sweet tea and tacos. And they were just cheering me on, telling me, come on, Kori. It's those moments, you guys, that are just precious and priceless. You've built a team around you. And I know I tear up because that's just the community that we have. In this moment, even more so, all of us going through COVID together, we're all cheering each other on. All of us are huddling up, providing free resources like this camp, where you guys know we're cheering you on. You can get through this. We will get through this together. That's my team. These are amazing hearts, man. We had such an incredible time. Most of us were females on my team. We had a cool crew. These gals went through boot camps to learn how to code. Most of these gals here in this picture were either self-taught or went through a boot camp. One of these gals went to college for it, and the rest of us just all figured it out for ourselves. We were an incredible team of scrappy, independent, strong learners. And when you build a community around you like that, you can accomplish it. You can make it to that finish line. That last thing I want to say is invest in the community. That, again, not only in your culture internally, in that internal team that you surround yourself with every single day, but give back to this community of WordPress. Every single time without fail that I have given back to this community, whether it be at a WordCamp, whether it be just a tutorial video that I'm putting out on my YouTube channel, whether it's speaking at a local meetup group, whether it's sitting at a youth camp, trying to teach 6-year-olds and 10-year-olds how to code. Every time you give back, you're going to get back that much more. I've been so blessed to be a part of so many different opportunities. And if you say, Kori, I'm not really the type that's going to go stand on a stage and chit chat. I don't have that personality. I'd rather be behind a screen. There's opportunities to get on to support and go over inside of WordPress.org and be a part of the community there and just answer tickets, talk to people, try to help people with their questions and their problems inside of the world of WordPress. 5 for the future is what I was talking early on about give back. Matt Mullenweg asked us, the very last U.S. WordCamp in California, we went and attended that. He asked us, how many of you make a living with WordPress? And we all raised up our hands, those of us who did. And he challenged us and said, I'm going to challenge you to give back 5% of your time to the WordPress community, whatever that looks like. And for me, it was my YouTube channel, where I now have just about 40,000 subscribers. And every single week, I'm creating content to help you improve your online marketing. That was my give back. And it's been incredible to be a part of something like that, to grow that community there. I'm going to challenge you to do that. Give back, be a part of your community, know your purpose, have a strategy, improve your services, improve your profit, improve your process, invest in people, and invest in community. Those are the 7 key things. If you're able to do that, you're going to have that kind of success. Very, very thankful to be able to share this with you guys. If you have questions, I think we might have some time. Sumner, if we have any time at all still to be able to take some questions.
Yes, we do have a couple questions and we have some time.
Awesome.
I had to clear my throat. I, like many people on the chat, have remarked how genuine you are and how much they appreciated your real personal expression. You shared you. You didn't just share facts, you shared real life. And that, I want you to know, has been commented on in the chats. I've got my glasses on so I don't miss anything at this point.
Thank you.
Someone in the chat that says, this is one of the chats that drove me to start my own business.
There you go.
First time they heard you. That is just so awesome.
Well, cheers to that. You can do it. I promise you, because if I can do it, literally anyone can do it. It's just a matter of being creative and being genuine, right? Taking your solutions to the table and asking a client, how can I help you? And being very genuine in the desire to help. The money is just butter. It's just icing on the cake, right? The money comes in because you start to build those relationships with clients. Sumner, before we get into the first question, can you share with people who might be watching who don't know how to submit their question? How can they do that for us?
Well, if they're watching right now on YouTube, there is a chat column on the right side of the YouTube screen. And that's where we're seeing the questions and the comments being entered. And I'm watching. So I keep looking away from you, is that I'm looking at another screen so I can read those questions for you. Here's a very important one, since you did mention that your family has been part of your growth in this business. So the question from Joe is, how would you advise us to work with family, work family into the fabric of our business in a healthy way? I mean, there's lots of ways to do it, but how would you recommend we do it in a healthy way?
Oh, Joe. That would be another whole workshop, you guys. I'm blessed to say this. My parents and I have always had a really cool relationship, and they have given me a lot of support in allowing me to drive strategy and stay with me, right? Where we're all consistently working toward the same goal. They knew that my goal was to get them to the finish line of getting into retirement. But I've talked to many of us in this industry who have tried to hire our parents. And the next thought is, how do we fire our parents? So I'm just going to challenge you to understand, one, why? Why are you trying to do that? Is this going to be a legacy product, this company that you want to pass on? So as long as you have a clear vision together and understand together what that exit strategy is, then everything that you do should point toward that. And that could be the bad cop in the room, in a sense. Keep in mind, write out what your exit strategy is. Put it up next to your computer screen. Have it sitting there on a wall somewhere. And every time one of those family members comes to you and has a suggestion for the way things should change or improve, you can say, let's measure it up against that strategy. Does it fit in line with that strategy? Let's try it then. So being flexible, extending grace to each other, and being very transparent in how we're going to drive this thing together, I think is key.
That is great. You've obviously experienced that, so you can talk from first place that this is what works, and that's what people need to hear. One of the other questions that started in the chat is, there was so much appreciation for you talking about your contract. That seems to be a stumbling point for a lot of solopreneurs and small business.
It is.
So one person had commented that they had attempted that short list bullet point in their contract, but the client wanted more information. Sure. So how would you address that when they want more substance to that bullet list?
I'm all about it, because if a client is being that, well, first of all, if a client's being that needy, you need to understand why they're asking for those things. Is it just out of, are they going to nickel and dime the heck out of you? And they're going to be micromanaging you in the entire process? Or are they asking out of honest, I don't know what that means, right? I honestly don't understand when you say design, what does that look like? So as you heard me state, our contracts have ballooned to about 22 pages now, because we do give paragraph descriptions, especially if somebody's about to throw down $80,000 or $100,000 to build out a website with me. That's basically where our budgets are these days. I just sold a project for $172,000. It's a WordPress website. So those types of contracts rolling out have paragraphs, if not 2 or 3 paragraphs, very detailing out what this particular component of this project looks like. So you can give that. I would just try to follow your gut in, why are they asking that question? Is this going to be a wackadoo client who's going to nickel and dime the heck out of me? Or are they truly being genuine and they just don't understand?
Very, very good points. Very good points. I appreciate that. Here's a question from Jason. With tools such as Wix and Squarespace getting better, how do we compete? He just lost a client that decided to do it himself. Yep. And now he's looking for those clients who will pay the prices that of his value. How does he do that?
Thank you for that question, because that is not only your reality, it's the reality of every freelancer and even small agencies, right? Where we see these other tools coming into the industry that, I saw a commercial and I think I can drag and drop, or my 5th grader learned in high school or learned in class that he can do it, and I'm going to let him do it. Everybody's got those people saying that they can take and run with it. Here's the thing, though. Your value is not the fact that you can drag and drop better than they can. Your value is not even that you might know a better theme that can expedite the process more quickly. Your value should be strategy, should be the years that you have spent. Even if it's a short time, you're still further along at doing what you do best than that individual. That individual is great in their own industry. Let's say that individual was a plumber, and that person is a phenomenal plumber. He or she knows everything about plumbing, but they don't know about web development. While they might be able to drag and drop and create a cool online presence, you bring strategy, you bring SEO strategy, you bring conversion strategy, you bring design strategy, you bring content strategy. That's your value, not the fact that you know what theme is better or what CMS is better. You could be building on Wix. You could be building on Squarespace. I don't care what CMS you use necessarily. I do believe more in WordPress. That's why I use it more. But when I sit at a table, they're not paying me because I can grab a theme and add their logo to it. They're paying me because I'm educating them and I'm giving them strategy after strategy after strategy. And I just happen to be able to build you a website too. So when you start having those types of conversations with your clients, they're going to look at you and go, okay, whoa. Now I know why I'm paying you. I'm not just paying you for a website. I'm paying you for all that added value.
Value. That should be capitalized, underlined, italics, everything around it. Value. I just love hearing that you put so much focus on value, because that really is where it is. We have another question. Maybe this will take us into our last few minutes.
Okay.
And that is, what type of business training was most valuable in your company's success?
Business training. I'm wondering, is that internal business training or the things that I experienced kind of on my own that I implemented in? I'm not sure which way to take that question.
Well, I say take it whichever way feels right for you at this point.
Okay.
Define.
I think for me, it was trying not to be isolated as a solopreneur, even though I had my parents around me who had been entrepreneurs their whole lives. They were mainly their main gig my whole growing up life. They were pastors. So at small country churches. So when I came to the table, even though I started my first company at 12, I'd never taken a business course. I didn't understand margins. Even launching Webtegrity, I didn't understand all that stuff. I had been being a freelancer, and I was just living literally gig to gig to gig as a freelancer, building out websites here and there where I could, and hoping to God I could pay my mortgage and pay my Jeep bill. For me, it really was getting plugged in and not being isolated. Finding people that had gone there before me, that I felt like they were approachable, and asking them questions just like what you just asked, right? Finding people inside of the world of Twitter. Right now, everybody's online right now because we can't engage in person. So we're all online. We're all in Twitterland. We're all on LinkedIn. We're all on Facebook. Now's the time to reach out and start just asking questions, because we're sitting there wondering, well, who can I talk to next? Schedule a Zoom call with somebody. Ask them, how did you do this? How did you handle it when this client went wackadoo and went rogue and went off on this tangent? How did you pivot and make these changes? When you determine in your heart that it doesn't always have to be your way, that you can learn from others, when you pivot that way, all of a sudden you just humble yourself and you go, man, if there's somebody else who's done it better than me, I want to learn from them and figure it out and try that. And then try it again. You kind of have to be in the mentality of you're on a jet ski, right? And we want to go super fast and enjoy ourselves, but we also need to learn how to pivot on a dime without being thrown off. So how do we do that strategically inside of being a freelancer or a small agency? If you can start to learn that and learn from others who have gone before you, you'll be able to manage that jet ski as you're moving your company through the waters along your journey. You'll be able to do it. The other thing is, understand this, and I'll leave on this moment. It is okay to quit. I was told that one time, because I guarantee you, when you have children and when you have people around you, when you have life hit you, when you have a wonky client that just drives you bonkers, it's okay to feel like you need to quit. It's okay to give yourself permission to say, I'm done. But then challenge yourself the next day to wake up and go do it again. Quit in that moment. Quit for that day. Hang up your hat. Turn the lights off. Just exhale for that minute. It's going to be okay. And realize you can regroup tomorrow and let's go figure this out, right? Start again, pivot, start again. That's how anything is created in this world, right? If you think about all the great products, they weren't just necessarily aha moments. They were either accidents or they were something where they went, well, we tried it over and over and over and over and over. Our light bulbs. Think about how things were created. Sometimes you just have to pivot, and that's okay to give yourself that type of grace.
That is a great note to end on. You've given some very valuable information. We've had some amazing comments and applause in the chat.
Awesome.
You've answered people's questions before they even knew they had the question. The questions that they asked, you've answered them perfectly. And like I said, the chat is just beaming for you. So I want to say thank you so very much for all this great information that you've given us. And people can know that this has been recorded, that the videos will be available on WordPress.tv. They'll be available on our YouTube channel. So they'll be able to come back and refresh their their thoughts and their memory as to all this great information that you provided. Thank you so very much, Kori, for being with us today.
Thanks for being here with me. Thank you.